Okay, Nevada, just off of film and evaluating him. Obviously, we came off a bye week, so we've had a little bit of extra time to evaluate him. Very tough-minded team overall. Has dealt with some ups and downs, which this crazy game of football and this conference will give you. But they've been resilient. They've been tough-minded. They've battled through everything that's come their way. Started a new quarterback last game, and he did a nice job. I think their offense was clicking pretty good. Big, tall wideouts to make plays for them, and the running backs are tough, physical kids, and kind of really took over the game on the last drive there at San Jose. Made some big plays for them, gave them an opportunity to win the football game. That game was kind of typical of their season and many of our seasons. There's swings that go both ways, both for you and against you. And, they answered to make enough plays to win that football game. So they're sitting in a good spot in conference, and I'm sure they're excited to come here and play a football game here, late start here. So it'll be exciting, and hopefully the crowd will come out and support us and the weather holds off and gives us a nice night instead of a rainy night, which we had last time. So, but I think you have two very good football teams that are fighting like crazy to stay in that conference hunt, and are right in the thick of it right now. So defensively, I think they're very stout up front. Within their defensive front guys, they play the odd front, and it's tough moving to get those guys moved around very much in there, and their linebackers have played very well. So, you have two teams that have high expectations match up on Saturday night.
It was bye number 2. Was it a lot different than bye number 1? I mean, as early in the year as that happened, and you had some things. Did you rest more in this one? What happened, Coach?
Practice was a little bit different. Still, the emphasis was on the young kids and some techniques and fundamentals. But we also, with having the games behind us that we've played, we're able to really identify and deal with a number of things that you don't have with the earlier bye, such as when are kids coming back that are injured? How do you work your depth chart to get the best kids in the best spot to be able to get the best starters on the field? Yes, but then also prepare for injuries and situations that can take place as you go through the season. So that was an emphasis, and will continue to be an emphasis this week. We do have some deficiencies where some young kids may need to potentially change positions. We'll see how that week goes, but you got to do the best to help your team for this year, to get them in a position to be able to compete at the highest level that they can. Then recruiting, we went later in the week and recruited, but got good work done with the young kids, which is awesome to spend time with them, and got a good jump start on Nevada, and we'll come back this week and continue to prepare. But there was a tweak, not a big difference between bye weeks, but this shift in your objectives just a little bit depending on the timing of the bye, the health of the team, and all that comes with it.
And you just mentioned health. That looked like against LSU the big question afterwards. A lot of guys didn't finish the game. I know you don't like to talk about any guys unless maybe they're out, but are you concerned about guys that got hurt in that game being able to play now this week or in the next couple of weeks?
Yes, yeah. So we'll see how that goes as we continue through. Guys are rehabbing, they're battling like crazy. Trainers, all the docs, weight room guys are all doing their best to help those kids get back. So we'll see how that all progresses. But like you said, we don't mention anything unless they're out for the season. But we'll use every day to our advantage to try to make sure we get them back and get them healthy. But when they go back out on the field, we want them to be healthy. That's the biggest thing.
I mean, just based on Nevada's ability to win close games this year, how much does that in and of itself just automatically gain your respect? Oh,
it absolutely does. And the adversity that they've had, they've been up and teams have come back on them, and then they turn around, and this last game is just a perfect example of what they've gone through. That team has fought and battled, whether it's been good or bad or indifferent, and they kept on fighting and keep on positioning themselves to keep playing hard. And that's the one thing you'll notice is these kids play hard. Football is important to them. They seem to really like football. So I think you're going to have two teams that I think that's the identity of both those teams are going to play on Saturday night. They both like football a lot. They like each other, and they play hard. And, so the ability to make plays at the end, it always comes down to a young man making a play here, making a play there to win those close ball games, and they've been able to do that a couple times. And, we've had the opportunity to do that ourselves. So it should be a great matchup within the conference.
What do you see out of their offense, Coach?
Well, it's pistol offense. It's a physical run game. Just because it isn't pistol makes it much more physical as far as downhill run. That running back, instead of running sideways for his first 2 or 3 steps, he's coming right down at you, quickly downhill at 2 or 3 steps before he gets the ball in his hands. So it's a physical zone type football play that's designed to hit the line of scrimmage with the back moving, whether he's bouncing it outside, staying inside, but he's got some momentum going with him, so there is a physical presence to it. The play-action run game has been very good to them. They throw the ball deep, they take shots down the field, and they have some very capable receivers. And so they've obviously, it's a little bit different offense just because of the pistol. They're not in it all the time, but a lot of the times we're in the pistol, so it just changes up some of your calls and some of the things that you can do to try to take advantage of the offset back. You don't get the opportunity to take advantage of that as much when they're sitting back there in the pistol.
They respond from a 54-3 loss to win a close game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's LSU and they were great, but you're having to respond from a similar type game to this week. You want to see the same kind of response.
No doubt, yeah, and we will see that. These kids will play hard. They'll bounce back. They're excited to get back into conference, and they understand how competitive this conference is right now. There's a number of teams with 1 loss. There's a couple teams with no losses. There's a couple teams with 1 loss. A couple teams with 2 losses that still see themselves obviously getting back in the mix and fighting. So, this Utah State crew will be ready to play, and I'm sure the Reno crew will be ready to play. But I expect our kids to bounce back. In fact, I thought they bounced back last week very well. It's not like we walk around moping because we lost that football game. It's we talked about it, and like I said, first of last week, we put it in the rearview mirror, but we can't leave it. We have to have a little piece of that in the rearview mirror. We got to remember it and have that little piece of that game there for us to help us drive us, help us focus, and help us continue to grind. And then it's just so important to me as I've gone through this for many years now. It's just you got 7 weeks guaranteed now to be together, and 7 more games that are guaranteed to be there, and it goes so fast. So, man, you got to enjoy it. Enjoy the practices, have fun. Battle like crazy to get those victories, and battle like crazy at practice to get better. And we start this thing out in January, and we'll start it again in January next year. But those days go so fast, and now there's 7 weeks guaranteed left. So, man, if I was on this team, I'd be fighting every day and enjoying every day to make sure that I give it my all when I look back and say I gave it all I had for that time frame, and I expect that will be the case.
Their freshman walk-on kicker might be one of the best stories in the Mountain West this year. Kicked another game winner against had game winners against Purdue, and then last week. How impressive have you been by? He hasn't missed a field goal. How impressive have you been by his poise?
Well, it's pretty good, obviously. He's made them when he's had to, and he's made them whenever he's been given the opportunity. So, and I think it's important to everybody wants to talk about the kicker there, and always wants to talk about the quarterback also. It's awesome for him to be able to get that done, and he's come through in clutch moments. But there's also a snapper and a holder there that are a key piece to that puzzle. So that's a 3-headed monster that's doing a very nice job for those guys, and that's not to also take away from the protection that he's getting to allow them to happen. But those 3 kids work in unison so well together when you have a successful unit on the PAT field goal team, and obviously they're operating at a high level and have a lot of success and have a lot of confidence that they'll make it.
They got 3 guys from the state of Utah, and they're 2 deep.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know those guys
very
well?
Yeah, good players, good kids. Other guys on our staff know them better than I do, but I know of them and have much respect for those kids, and that'll give them a little extra energy and juice, I'm sure, when they walk in here. But we watch those kids as they grew up and developed, and they're good football players.
The 2 guys start on defense,
Mm-hmm.
Sewell and Sakona.
Yep, good players, good families, good people.
Sewell's definitely a pretty big name in Utah right now.
Yeah.
What did you see out of Malik Henry that he had a pretty dynamic performance last week?
I think wherever they're at and what they're doing, they're just it fits the world that they want, right? And he walked into that moment and he was prepared, and it was good to see. I guess good to see is not really the right word because he played really well, but it's good to see a kid jump into that spot and be prepared to do it, and he did. He took advantage of the opportunity and played well enough to help his team do what they had to do to win the football game. So, he's waited to get into the position to make those plays, and he's done it. And we'll see, how it continues to grow and how he continues to develop as he goes through time. I'm sure he'll have high expectations, and as well as coaches will for himself. And he's definitely a young man that you have to deal with.
With the injury thing you want to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
did you Did you spend a lot of time with younger guys at running back and receiver to get ready for this camp?
I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be, it's the running backs are who we have, and we felt good about those guys all along. You want to have 3 or 4 guys in there that they'll continue to take the reps. Wide receiver position is, I think that those young kids have been getting the reps. AJ getting in the mix in there and having some things to do and getting a lot of reps on special teams helps him be prepared. And Compton getting back, I think that's going to help us be in a good position there as far as we move forward. So it's really just the focus on all the positions as we go through there and where the potential deficiencies are, just from not really a sheer number standpoint, but just the health of the team as a whole. It's easy to see the kids that you see in the game actually don't finish the game or have an injury in the game, but there's also some outlying factors out there from things that take place in practice. Kids get worn down. You just want to make sure you're in a position to be able to continually build again to get the best starters out there, but also be prepared in case somebody goes down in a position to allow the team to function at as high levels as it possibly can.
And one guy that has stood out a little bit to me we talked about 2 deep, 3 deep guys before the start of the year. Jacoby Wildman has made a lot of plays in games where I think we kind of thought about other guys on the defensive front maybe more than him.
Yep.
And can you talk just a little bit about what he has done so far?
Yeah, excuse me. Jacoby's played all over the place. He's played outside, he's played inside, he's played nose guard at times. He's played in that A gap, he's played in the B gap, and again on the edges of the defense. And he's so smart that you can allow him to be able to play different positions, and handle it mentally, yes, and then physically he can handle the different types of techniques and fundamentals that come with playing the different positions, whether it's a nose guard, whether it's a tackle, or whether it's an end. And it's just a credit to him. He's very versatile. He's very strong-handed, I would say. When he lays his hands on you, you're going to feel him, and that's a big part of playing the end position for him and for the tackle position. And there's not a great departure as far as his game is physicality. He likes to get in the mix and be physical and play with a nice physical presence to his game, whether he's inside or outside. And so that works well for him to be able to move inside and then go back outside. It's not drastic change as far as his pad level and how he plays. But his motor is the biggest thing, how hard he plays. He loves football, and it doesn't matter if it's snap 52 a practice or snap 1 of a game. That kid goes 100 miles an hour, and it's fun to watch him get out there and have some success. And Jacoby always has a smile on his face. I mean, I even see him out there on the field with the other team, and he's got a smile on his face and talking to the kids on the other side. So that's something I was never really good at when I was a player, but that's his personality, and he stays with it, and it's fun to watch him play.
Well, it's pretty exciting to get back to work and focus on Mountain West play now. I mean, we had a lot of things we got to fix, a lot of things we got to get better at, me, myself, and excited to get back to it.
Nevada, I was looking over their stats. They've allowed quite a few tackles for loss this season. I want to say something like 57, something like that. How excited are you as a front seven to be able to get after them on Saturday?
I mean, it's really exciting. I really feel like our front seven could play with the best of them. So, I mean, it's going to be a fun game. I think we could do a lot of great things.
Kevin, is it Metzenheimer or Metzenheimer?
Metzenheimer.
Metzenheimer's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What is it like playing next to a guy like Woodward, who obviously teams try to do stuff to get him out of making tackles? Does that open it up for you, or what is that like? Can you talk about that?
I mean, it's really fun. I mean, watching him play, watching film on him, he's a great player. It's fun to watch him make plays. I mean, it's so many times he could be out of position, and in a quick heartbeat, he'll make the tackle, make the play. It's fun. I mean, a lot of dudes do try to double team him, so it frees me up. So it's good to play against him because it makes me feel better. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. Makes me play better. So it's fun.
It was pretty night and day difference. Nevada's previous game against Hawaii and then against San Jose State. I'm sure you probably watched film in both games. Was it like watching 2 different teams?
Yeah, it was like watching 2 different teams, but I mean, I think they're still a pretty good team. So.
What have you seen out of their offense? What's your scouting report on them?
The receivers are pretty big dudes. The running back, pretty good, big tough guy. The quarterback, he throws the ball really well on the run, throws the deep ball really good. That's a good team.
ask Coach the same thing kind of Jason was talking about is they responded after they got beat 52-3 and had a bye week, and then we saw what happened in their next game. You guys got beat pretty good by LSU, got a bye week. What was that like to come back after that and get back to work, and where do you think everybody is right now? You know?
I feel like the first thing you got to do after losing is get back to work. That's the way you get over the loss. So come back to work is going to make us better. Being able to have that extra week, getting everybody healthy, the extra film, the extra treatment is going to give us an upper edge on them. So.
Coach really likes all of you guys. Do you guys like together? Can you talk a little bit about the team feeling?
We love Coach A. We love all the coaches.
And what it's like as a whole team besides loving the coach or whatever too.
I mean, I feel like this team, like, we're all together. I feel like anybody outside of football could just hang out with each other because we have a bond. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows each other's name, where they're from, how they're doing. You can ask anybody on the team for something, and they may be able to help you because everybody has a love for one another. And I feel like Coach A brought that in, like love each other, keep each other accountable for anything that you do. Make sure you're on the right path, doing what you're supposed to do. And he just feeds that into us, and, I mean, he's a good dude.
Can you express a little bit of your situation? You started to play more towards the end of last year and stuff. But is this year a totally different feeling to be starter, more responsibility for you? What?
Yeah, it's a lot more responsibility. I mean, you got to be able to play the whole game instead of just being a part-time player, doing special teams, things like that. I would say it's funner. I actually think it's easier because now I get to watch film and really break down who I'm playing against and see what I need to do to be better to be able to play against these guys because, I mean, any given Saturday, anybody could beat anybody, so you just got to be on top of your game.
I feel like right now the team is in a good spot. We obviously were humbled last time we were out, but we took that as an edge, as something that we set that's not going to happen. That's not who we are, and came out, had a really good week of practice. And, you know, really that brotherhood is showing right now because some people can fold, some people can point a finger, but I feel like that didn't happen at all with us. We're going to go out and compete. I feel like our guys have a lot of confidence, and now being back home where we've been on a good run, I feel like that's just going to add to our fire and really push us for these next 7 weeks.
There's some, once again, there's some really good kickers in the Mountain West. Cooper Roth from Wyoming. This kid from Nevada is doing an outstanding job. How much do guys like that in the Mountain West kind of inspire you to play at a high level?
Competition's great. I mean, that's what's going to push you to be as good as you can be. I mean, I know Cooper personally. He's a really good guy. Was really happy for the season that he had last year, and I always want to root for him. I haven't met Nevada's kicker yet. I know he's from California. He's got a good leg. He's got all the confidence in the world right now, and you know, I want to compete against him. I want to see how that kind of makes both of us better. But in the end, kicking is a competition with oneself and going out there and just doing your job and being 1 for 1 every single time.
We talked before the year. I talked to you about, you know, your placements are what everybody notices. How have you done with kickoffs? Yeah, it seems like to me you've neutralized a lot of the other teams doing much. You are satisfied with what you've done with kickoffs so far, Don?
Yeah, I mean, from the different kind of specialty kicks that we have, and to just being able to sometimes just kick it out of the back of the end zone, we're really trying to minimize their return game, their returners. I mean, we've played against some outstanding guys and minimize them. I feel like that's something that I take pride in, just being able to be utilized in so many different things, whether it's kicking off left, right, kicking off short, having a kind of different array of specialty kicks. That's really something that I pride myself in, that not everybody would maybe see, but that's something where I practice constantly, and I want to always be 100% when those opportunities do arise.
So from your start here to where you are now, it's like light years in the kicking game from where you started. Can you express that in any way?
I mean,
Like, we're just thinking about you just kicking it hard and long and straight or whatever, but there's lots more that goes into it, it sounds like.
yeah, it's a lot of technique that, you can constantly kind of tweak, constantly kind of adjust, but the fundamentals are there. And from the first time that I got here till where I'm now, my complete kicking style has changed. And whether that's through some of the coaches that I've had, just, separate from Utah State, the kicking coaches I go see, or just, me seeing something on film that I needed to change. That's kind of what changes your routine maybe a little bit, changes your form, but not overall like the mindset of going out there and, like I said, being 1-for-1 every single time.
In the midst of like inclement weather, like it's Colorado State, and then obviously later into this year, how do you prepare for that? Kicking field goals. Is there a way to prepare for it at all?
I mean, the best way for the rain games to prepare is just kicking a wet ball. I mean, you kind of just get it and soak it, and that's kind of, you don't have the rain dripping on you or anything like that, but you just feel that the ball's a little bit heavier. And then once we start getting later where it's just genuinely cold out, where it's freezing, I mean, we're already in practice kicking a frozen ball, everything, so that kind of just takes over to the game. But in the end, whether you can, kickers love to blame it, but in the end, it's just I got to go out there and make the kick, and that's kind of what I felt like with Colorado State. There weren't going to be any excuses. I just needed to go out there and do my job.
Is the artificial surface on rain, is it more slick than grass, or is grass still slicker? Artificial. To try to plant and things like that.
I would say grass. I mean, LSU's field was a bit strange because it's not your typical grass field. It's sand-based underneath, so you can kind of feel yourself slipping a little bit more. But when I've played at other grass stadiums, it's never been an issue, and same with the artificial. I mean, it's kind of just the same thing, and that's what you're focusing on.
So the weather doesn't really make a difference for the surface or anything on that?
Not really. I mean,
Wind would still be the biggest deal, probably.
yeah, wind would be the biggest deal. I mean, the only thing that, the weather kind of affects is maybe the snapper or the holder. I mean, you got to think about those guys as well. But for kicking, it's pretty much the same thing over.
Your combination of you like the way everybody's worked together, Pata and Dalton, for the most part, with you. Has that worked out great?
Yeah, I mean, Brandon Pata is one of the most underrated guys that nobody talks about, which, he's been consistent. He's always done his job. He gets down on coverage. He forces the returner to make a fair catch. I mean, we got him in schemes now where he's blocking. He can kind of do everything, and he deserves a lot more credit than he sometimes might get. And then Aaron Dalton, he's been a leader. He's stepped up. He's now transitioned to just being the holder, and he takes pride in that. He wants our operation to run as smoothly as possible, and just having guys that are best friends of mine off the field where we constantly hang out, or to being guys on the field where I can trust them no matter what the circumstances are, that the operation's going to run smoothly.
Obviously, this bye week was pretty valuable for a lot of guys being able to rest up, but I mean, especially after a loss, do you guys get a little bit stir crazy? Just kind of maybe a little frustrated that you don't get to play the next week and have that opportunity to bounce back?
I feel like you can see it in both ways. I mean, you can go and, have a really great week of practice, see it as that, and then rather than, not having a game and seeing that as something frustrating, it's, I just got better this week, where someone else, somewhere else might not have. Where, whether that's from the position group with the wide receivers or the quarterbacks, they start learning more things in that 1 week because they can solely focus on that one thing that they want to work on. You can transition that into now the next game because now you've had 2 weeks prep for a certain opponent, and you know what you're going to be able to do and what they're going to be able to do.
You missed the kick against San Diego State. How did you handle that, or does that go right out of your head and you're just worried about how do you handle that, Dom?
Both. I mean, I was frustrated because I knew I should make that 100% of the time, but I'm a realist. Sometimes you just miss, and that's what happens. I mean, every kicker misses. Every kicker, has a leg to make that kick, but it's how you respond from it. And I was frustrated, was mad at myself for 10, 15 minutes, and then next thing I know is, you're going to be thrown into the next situation, the next kick. And it's not about letting that kick affect you. It's about going out and taking each kick by itself and coming back and having the good weeks of practice and then playing the next opponent, kicking well. That just builds your confidence right up to where it was before.
And just know that when we saw the games this weekend, it's going to come down to kicks in some conference games to keep it on the winning side all the time, isn't it?
Exactly. And, it doesn't matter if the kick is at the end of the fourth quarter, if the kick comes in the second quarter. You never know when it's going to come. That's why you got to take every single kick as seriously as you can and just going out there and making it.